Welcome to the Aesthetic AF podcast. We are joined today by Holly Seals. She is not in the studio with us, but she is from her home studio, and we're going to chat all things aesthetics today. So, Holly, why don't you start us off by just giving us kind of your 30-second story? Who you are, how'd you get into this, the highlights.
Okay, yeah. So I'm Holly. I'm a nurse practitioner. I practice in the Heights. I own my own practice. I opened it up this year. How I've got into aesthetics. After high school, I went to cosmetology school, found the beauty world. I did lashes all through nursing school. And then once I got out into nursing, I was like, oh my gosh, what did I do? I hate this. I miss the lashes. Anyway, I ended up getting lip filler one time. Found out, hey, nurses can do this. And so it combined both of my background in the beauty industry as well as my degree. And so, yeah, that's how I found aesthetics, decided to go back for my master's once I fell in love with it. And here we are.
I love when degree and career path and passion can align. It just makes life so much happier.
Yes.
Yeah. What do you think? My question was gonna be, what's the boldest move you've made in your career? But is it shifting from nursing, like practicing nursing in a traditional sense, to opening your own practice? Or is there something else that you think I was a badass, that was pretty bold?
I'd say it's two things. One, when I decided to go back to nursing school, because I went back, I was already a mom. So doing that was like so hard, but it also helped me feel like I could do anything, because if I can go to school and be a mom, and then when I finished NP school, deciding to open my own practice, that was like a big leap of faith. And yeah, challenging, but very rewarding.
Yeah. Could you tell us a little bit more about maybe the early days compared to where you're at now?
Yeah, when I started in aesthetics, you really try to do anything to get your foot in the door. For people who haven't tried to venture into this field, it's really hard to get into. So that took a lot of hustle and initial like financial investment to get into aesthetics. And then once I got in, so no one really tells you this, but so the first week that I was in clinic, you do your Botox, neuromodulator, whatever you're doing at your clinic. And then you don't see those people for 10 days. That neuromodulator is not going to work like immediately. So you don't know, my goodness, did I just mess them up? So
What a
your
waiting
first
period.
little set of patients, it really is like nerve wracking. And you go in, now I talk to newer injectors all the time, and that's the one thing, like the fear, they're scared. So I think early on having that, and then now I feel like you could drop me in the Caribbean, give me a syringe, and I could do it with my eyes closed. It's still good to have a little bit of that fear and precaution, because I feel like that keeps you safe. But that has been the biggest shift. I don't have that debilitating fear.
Yeah, confidence can go such a long way. And then just that repetition of continuing to do it. And then that 10-day later, okay, I didn't mess them up. I didn't mess them up.
Check.
We're good.
Yeah.
But those first 2 weeks, I'm sure, were pretty nerve-wracking.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, waiting for them to come back in. You're like, please call me if there's any problems. Like, actually call me, please, because I'm freaking out over here. Just call me on Tuesday, like, regardless.
Yes.
Okay. What do you think is the number one misconception about running your own location? What do you think people make an assumption about that's completely off base?
I guess about having your own place, maybe just that you're going to have all this freedom, when really like there's so much more responsibility, and you're doing everything. You're wearing all of the hats. The other day I was telling someone, I was like, I think I'd rather just go clock in at McDonald's. Can I do that? Because
That feels so
this is a lot. I wouldn't do anything else, and I don't think I understood that when I would hear that prior. Like, it's a lot, but I wouldn't do anything else. I'm like, but why? But now I understand it. I understand it.
Yeah, I've seen that in so many different, I think every entrepreneur has had that exact thought of what am I doing? I could just work for somebody and at 5 o'clock not
Clock
have to
out.
think about it. I could just
Yes.
show back
Yeah.
up when my shift starts. It would be, but there, yeah, there's something almost addictive also of owning your own and having control. And that kind of means
Yes.
that all of us work a lot of hours and those sorts of things to begin with. But there is that like that kind of carrot of just keep going, this will
Yes.
work.
And I think
Yes.
it's that mindset as an entrepreneur, like you're constantly trying to improve things and grow things. So when you're working for someone else, you're like, oh, but we could do this and this.
Yeah.
And so to have that in your own business and be able to actually do those things,
Yes.
which kind of leads into the next question. Is there a process, system, or tool or something that you implemented in your business that like changed the game?
Really, I guess focusing on, I guess the client interaction and pre-booking. That is something that I've learned at the practice I was at previously. Like we would pre-book everyone for their neurotoxin, but really taking that a step further and just saying, hey, I want to see you back in 2 weeks, or I want to see you back in a month for this. And I give all of my patients like a year-long treatment plan so they know what we're doing throughout the year, and they can like take that home in their hand like a paper copy, and just making sure they're pre-booking their next service. Yeah, that's really
Well, and I like
helped.
how you phrase that because it shifts the conversation from would you like to book again to I need to see you again in X amount of weeks.
Yes.
And I think that shifts again into you're the expert, they need to be back in this amount of time. And it just leads into that confident
Yeah.
booking.
Yeah, and I'm sure that has a massive impact on your bottom line too, right? Because when you end up having people already realizing that this is a year-long process, that this is it's not instant gratification. We're not going to be able to create your results that you want in one shot. Like it's not available. But also then that they're committed to being long-standing clients, which any business, that getting rid of some of that churn and having people be committed to you for that 12 months just creates so much better of a relationship and a better result and outcome for the patient for sure.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. What do you think when you think about upselling in your business? Is there, besides those things, which I think are super, super effective, are there any other ways that you upsell to clients so that they are doing maybe more than what if they came in and said, I just want Botox, and you're like, okay, Botox, but also your outcome, you want this, you also might want to look at microneedling, for instance, or whatever it might be.
Yeah, so I'm really big on educating my patients. I want them to know because there'll be patients who come in and they're like, yeah, I just want to do a little bit of filler for the wrinkles in my forehead. And I'm like, oh no, that's Botox. They don't know. I think taking away your assumptions about their knowledge, assumptions about their wallet, and just giving them honest advice. If this was my mom sitting in this chair, what would I tell her? And I just treat my patients that way. And I've always been that way, even back when I was doing lashes. I'm at the core of everything going to be honest, even if it's not cost effective or it's not profiting for me. If there's something in my wheelhouse that I have that can help them and I know it's going to give them great results, I'm going to recommend it. But if there's something else, I'm happy to refer out or tell them, no, you don't need that. Let's wait. Check in with me in a few months and then we'll decide. So there's no hard and fast, like we have to do this right now, but just educating them, leaving out your assumptions and treating them like you would your family.
Yeah. And I think that's so important in keeping patients long term because setting that expectation of, okay, yeah, they came in wanting the most expensive treatment I offer. I could just give it to them knowing it's not going to work and then never see them again because it's not
Yes.
going to work. Or educate them on, you don't need this, but we can do X, Y, and Z. And then you've got a patient for 10 years, 20 years. So yeah, I think that's super important.
Yeah, I really like that. And I think I think it talks to, we speak so much sometimes, people are so nervous about the sales portion of any sort of business. And the reality is, if you keep it in, basically dropping those assumptions is huge. And that is something that makes such an impact because you don't know what people are willing and able to pay. You don't know how invested they are in the process. And sometimes we do make those assumptions, and that really can hinder a business owner who's guessing that a person can or cannot be interested in that offer for whatever reason. But I also think it makes the conversation just that, a conversation. It doesn't make it a sale. Like, you're leading with education means it's an educational discussion, which then some assignments come out of it, and then you can go from there. And I would imagine that makes your patients feel very comfortable and have a lot of faith in what you're suggesting. When you do make a suggestion, then it has so much more weight when they know you're doing it for their benefit and not just for the sale.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think it's like shifting that mindset from, I'm not on the street corner with a coat and a bunch of watches, like trying to get you to get this sale. Like, I have something that will actually provide a solution for you and help you. But I think even talking about marketing services, sometimes I'm like, feeling like that street corner watch seller. And I'm like, that's not what this is. Like, I don't know why I feel so icky. So that mindset shift is super important.
What do you think is the most underrated way to get new patients in the door? What have you found just works really well that's underrated in the industry?
I don't know about it being, I guess you hear a lot about, I don't know. I feel like we've had this shift to more like social media, but the grassroots stuff like still works. Like word of mouth, those have been my best patients. In the practice that I was at previously, I would say like 98% of those come from word of mouth. So I like to do like a referral fee. So it rewards the patient and it rewards the new patient. And that's really been effective, just like that grassroots marketing. Because once you have a patient and you like them, you've created like a relationship with them, you see, what they're about, their personality, they probably know other people that are like-minded. So pulling in those same type of people weeds out the unknown of just casting a wide net.
Yeah. And I think the misconception often with marketing for a med spa is, okay, I just put it on social media, I'm good to go. That's all the marketing I need to do. And that's not the case. Yes, social media is important, but there's also all of these other layers of your marketing, including word of mouth and building those in-person connections and referrals that you have to have in place in order to get people coming in the door and have them continue coming in the door.
Yes.
Yeah. And I feel like also your social media often is the thing where word of mouth is great. Somebody says, hey, I went and saw Holly. She's amazing. Great results. Chances are that person's, what's her Instagram?
Yeah.
What's her, like, where do I find her? Is she on TikTok? And then they'll go and take a little peek. So it's like that original introduction to your name even is gold. And then you've got to make sure that you still exist on the places that you're going to be like, I'm going to do a little due diligence. Let's see. Oh yeah, I like how she does this. I like her personality. Yeah. Now I'll book. So I like that. I think it's so good. Okay. So let's ask you a question that's a little bit different. What's your guilty pleasure when you're not running your business? Besides, we talked a little earlier about being on the football field, but besides that, what would be your little guilty pleasure when you're not working?
I like to watch reality TV in my bed and eat pasta. That is like anyone who's ever been my friend or worked with me, like they just think that like I always have pasta, in my bed watching reality TV.
Like a dream.
I'm going to implement that. Now, is it a specific type of pasta, or is it just like a bowl of pasta and you're a happy gal?
Really kind of anything. I'll eat Alfredo, or maybe it's macaroni and cheese, or maybe it's spaghetti, or I just really love pasta.
I'm hungry this morning.
I might be hungry. I'm like, okay,
her mind went to what kind of pasta? My mind went to, ooh, what show are you watching?
Yeah. I didn't even think about the show. That's true. That is very true.
Might be a protein bar in your future.
Yeah, there's one in my bag. I'll eat it afterwards. Obviously, I need it.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us today on the podcast. This has been some great insight into especially like the sales mindset and just what it takes to be a business owner in the aesthetics industry. Where can people find you online or
Yeah, we have a website. It's just buildaesthetics.com. And then on Instagram, I'm at injector_Holly. Same thing on TikTok. Yeah.
awesome. Thank you so much and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for
Yeah.
coming
Thank y'all.
on. This was great.